All right, let's wrap up Georgia's 48-7 win over Tennessee Martin. A really slow start for the Dogs. I was expecting more fireworks from the offense, but I will say this: when you pull back the curtain, and Carson Beck, who I think was off a little bit at times tonight, 21 of 31 for 294 yards. That's hard to complain about, but I do think that he was not on target as much as I think he will be over time. Now, that's my opinion. I don't know what it's going to really look like over time. I thought that the first half was not what you wanted from Georgia. It just wasn't. And, why was that? The running backs right now are not where they're going to be in a little bit of time. Milton's not 100%. You did not have Edwards out there. So I didn't, I was not impressed with the run game. I thought the offensive line was not where it needed to be on that front. There were times when they were getting their ass whipped. So, this is not about cheerleading here. We're trying to tell y'all what we think. At the same time, though, I have to say, Kendall wound up with 54 yards on 9 carries and started slowing it down after that. There's a 6-yard average for him. He had a 37-yarder. Roger Robinson looks pretty good at times, 6-yard averages for him. It's tough to – they just didn't have the explosive plays that we've seen over time. They have goofed around with teams like this before. Now, what will happen nationally is everybody will scale back from this, and they will say, oh, Georgia won 48-7. But it really wasn't great in the first half. It's not who you play, it's how you play. They did not play as well in the first half as they did in the second. Now, in the second half, you could see what was happening. 54-yard pass from from Beck to Muse, touchdown. Roger Robinson with a touchdown. Fourth quarter, obviously, a lot of the second team was in there for the Dogs. Brock Vandergrift with a nice pass to Oscar Delp. He was wide open. That was set up off of a long play from Brock, a 56-yarder. I don't know who that was thrown to. But, I think that when you're looking for stuff in a 48-7 win, I don't know. But there is stuff. This is not a team, if they play like this tonight, they're not going to win the national championship playing like that. And Ohio State's not going to win it playing the way that they did. Certainly, I thought the most impressive sort of win of the day was Colorado. There's not a lot of teams that are going to have Travis Hunter. He really looked good today. I've totally paid attention to him for obvious reasons. But, Georgia allowed a junk touchdown near the end of the game. Their third down was not what you wanted it to be with Beck in the game. But there's still stuff that needs to kind of get better, for sure. I mean, they allowed 132 yards rushing, which was, not like them, but they were running with the quarterback. So tonight, UT Martin was essentially saying to Georgia, we're not going to let you run. And they did a great job of stopping that. What though the backhand to stopping that forehand is Georgia didn't hit them or hurt them with plays in the passing game. And that's what loosens things up quite a bit. Okay? That's the challenge if you're Georgia is how do you get all of that melded together so that you're being more crisp on offense? Well, I've got a great solution to that. You return your star players and get them out there. You have Eli McConkey playing. You have Marcus Rosemary-Jacksaint playing. You have Edwards playing. You have Milton at 100%. You have Carson Beck playing more like he did in the second and third than you do like he did in the first. They seemed jittery. They did not seem comfortable. I think everybody thought, because the last time we saw this team play, they basically punched a button, scored 65 points, swam in confetti, and spiked the football on what is arguably the greatest 2-year run in the history of college football, arguably, certainly lately. So every night is not going to be your first night after getting married. Okay, that's a lot of this, but or first night of getting married. So there is a slow steadiness to seasons. This is 8% of the season. They did not play well. That's going to be the consensus out there, and they won 48-7. So you tell me if it's all bad, because it's not all bad. It's not all good either, though. I mean, this is one of these things where they've got to clean some things up. I mean, I got to say, I thought it would be a little less humid out here, but it's not. And it's sticky and all that. Next week will be at noon. And, Georgia's not great at noon games. They're really not great at noon games. We can't do this sort of coverage without our friends from EkoPoly. You've seen all of their products. It's been really great, our partnership with them. Today's the first game, and we're going to talk about them quite a bit. Make sure you're checking their link out below. There's a coupon code that you can use and get a significant % off of your order. Folks are already calling them, so make sure you're saying, hey, I'm interested in this, or I want to get this. I'm going to use this coupon code, or call them and take advantage of that now, because it is very nice. And I'm not just saying that. I thought Brock Bowers was, this guy is legit. And then you had Mekhi Muse, who really, that was the moment where they just kind of got it going. It took them about 37 minutes to really sort of explode. That was the first explosive play. Kendall Milton, if that was DeAndre Swift or James Cook, that run was to the house. The long run from Robinson, if those were those guys, that's to the house. So they don't have that right now. They have big, physical backs. The explosiveness from the run game is going to come from body shots. It's not going to come from, Jeff Demps, who played for the Gators years ago. So, this was not as explosive. I thought it would be more explosive than this. Nearly not quite 600 yards, 560 yards of offense. I thought the defense really played well. I don't know. I thought UT Martin did some stuff, and they were interested in doing particular things, which is great. But I'm just going to do the math here, and hopefully I won't lose the connection with my AirPods. But 260 total yards, which is great defensively. They averaged about 4 yards a play. So there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, 560 yards to 260 yards, 400 passing yards for Georgia to 128 for the Skyhawks. This game lasted way too long. This game lasted way too long. And I do think that there's an opportunity now for Carson to grow more. It's important for people like y'all. You don't have to be a chef to know when the food is not as good as you want it to be. And tonight was not as good as you want it to be if you're a Georgia fan. That said, they're not just going to kill everybody. They're just not. And, if you've played sports, you know that it doesn't work like that. I watched Friday night. I think it was Friday night. I'm losing track of the days, to be honest with you. But I watched Novak Djokovic. I'm not a giant fan, but I understand what he is. This guy got down 2 sets to love in New York. He was not playing well, period. But he gussied up and he got the job done. And, he advanced to the 4th round, or I don't know if that's the 16, the round of 16 or what, I can't remember. The U.S. Open's 128, and I get confused with the rounds after years and years of tennis. But I think you gotta play better for you, and for Georgia, there's going to be a lot to improve on. This was not as bad as a lot of people are going to make it out to be, but it's not where it needs to be championship level. South Carolina's losing to North Carolina right now. So there will be some air let out of those tires, 31 to 17. So South Carolina's going to lose that game late. And, hey, look, it's going to be tougher than people think at Auburn probably. But, this team has the capability to massage their way into the season. And, that looks like a good thing for them. But the rest of the league is out here scoring a lot of points too. Vanderbilt, 47. Texas A&M, 54. State, 48. Auburn, 59. Ole Miss, no mercy, 73 points. Arkansas, 56. Kentucky, 44. 49 for the Vols, who started slow too, for the record. But they were playing Virginia. But this was very ho-hum this week in the league. Next week, you've got Alabama and Texas. You've got, obviously Georgia, Ball State. You've got Ole Miss going to Tulane, a ranked matchup if Tulane holds on. Furman, South Carolina, Auburn at Cal, which is going to be a game that somebody talking to you right now is going to be very eager to watch late. You have to. They need to play better than that. What that was, but they needed to play better than they did against LSU last year, and they did. They needed to play better than they did against Samford, and they did. I do think, to some degree, really probably should not sit on here. I really do think, to some degree, that the term front runner is a wrong word to use. I don't know what other words come into my head though right now. But this team, they like big moments. They like big moments, and I thought the crowd. Kirby said they were elite tonight. I mean, I got to tell you, I think he was probably right about that. They wanted it to be a bit more of a party, more of a soiree. Having fun, throwing confetti. Unfortunately, every day is not like that in life, and we're just going to see what happens next week with a bit better opponent in Ball State. I do, they're missing a Dwight Phillips right now at running back. They really are. And if he gets in the open field, he's gone. Sony Michel, who was here tonight, I think everybody, I thought I saw Stetson. I know I saw Trayvon, Jordan. There were a lot of guys here tonight that have played on this team. And those guys played bad games too. The Charleston Southern game in 21, which I think is one of the great, I will make the case that was one of the great all-time days in Sanford Stadium history. I think looking back on it, that's even more true now, and that's maybe another story for another day. But we were out downtown yesterday, and so much of Georgia is predicated on Georgia-dom. People get so excited to come to these games, and like for us, we were ready to go watch Georgia play. But we've seen them run around, we've seen them practice. We've seen Kirby Howard 6 times, So, it's just what it is. Everybody else, though, man, I can't tell you how many people I saw that were so excited to be in Sanford again, and that's the part that I think that people miss. Is it's such a great moment, a cultural moment, a family moment, all of that stuff. That even when they don't play well, and they didn't play great, and go 48-7, so you can't win with these games. For the record, you can't win because if they go up 48, if they go up 28-0 and win this game 48-7, they go at 28-0, which I don't think they did. They went up 24 and then 31. So if they go up 24-0 and it's like a zoom out, but then then it'll be well, it was just Tennessee Martin. But it's it took them a second or two. They had a false step. And, they scored that first touchdown with about 3 minutes to go in the first quarter. And it took them another quarter almost to score a touchdown. It felt like a real game. It did. And I don't know that that's all good. I don't know that it's really bad. They didn't play well. They didn't play as well as they could play. And they won by 41 points against a team that, but still, I think this was a forgettable game starting on Monday or tomorrow. I don't think there's a quarterback controversy. I know that that's going to be something that's discussed. Carson Beck, to me, has still got some growth there. And the good news is that he's got a very good quarterback coach in Mike Bobo to help him develop. Gunnar Stockton did look good. So did Brock Vandegrift. Kirby is in a good place with quarterbacks for sure. But you just want to see Georgia. It needs to be easier. It needs to be easier at times. And they did not. They were not going to play Brock Bowers all night. They were not going to do this. They were not going to do that. But I think I'll turn this off. Y'all will go visit EkoPoly down below and get your discount code. And then you'll think about something else tomorrow. And that's fine. Because games like this don't decide seasons. They're just part of seasons.